So big thanks to Thermalright for sending us the sample that we're going to have a look at today. Today I have, and you won't be able to tell from the front because this uses Thermalright's trademark plain brown box packaging. Thermalright has always kind of said, well, we're not really about the box, we're more about what's inside the box. So here, we've got just simple text on the side. This is their Spitfire VGA cooler, and I've also got one of their VRM R5 accessories for it. So why don't we start with, let's start with the add-on piece, just to kind of shake things up, you know? Why look at the main thing when we're actually, you know, looking at both in the long run or something. First of all, we get a Thermalright Ultimate Cooling Solution sticker inside the box, and we're probably going to have one of those in each box, would be my guess. Okay, then we get a quick assembly package. So this gives you what accessories you can accept, or you can expect in order to assemble your VRM R5. Now, as you might have already guessed, the VRM R5 is for cooling the VRM on a Radeon 5 series. So this is for the Radeon 5870. And you can see that we've got a quick exploded view of how to install it. It actually looks really simple. So you've got a couple clips that appear to be for fans, and then you've got a couple of screws that go in from the back. And yeah, well, that's fairly straightforward. Thanks for that. Okay, why don't we have a look at the actual cooler itself? Okay, it starts to look less simple all of a sudden here, but that's okay. We'll get into that when we get to it. So I'm not gonna snap this open now because it looks actually quite well sealed, and there's a bunch of little parts in here. But we've got, as they outlined here, 3 thumb screws, 3 washers, and then 2 thermal strips. Okay, and let's have a look at the cooler itself, because this is sort of the business part of Thermalright's business, is coolers. That is a big piece of foam. Huh. Why don't we unbox the foam today? Just the foam. So what they've done is they've put together some foam and then they made a hole in it. And that, no, I'm just kidding. That protects the cooler itself. So this is the VRM R5. And this is actually, yeah, this is kind of amazing because this piece is dedicated purely to cooling the voltage regulators. I mean, when you consider how small and puny the cooler that sits on the VRM on a stock card is, and you think that this is actually designed to cool this whole thing, it's pretty cool. So here, let's have a look at the menu, at the diagram they've done here. So when you've actually got your card installed in your system, this is going to stick up this way. So any case airflow that's coming through your case, generally speaking, it's going to be coming front to back, is going to have to blow through these fins in order to be exhausted. So that's what Thermalright is going for with their design. So why don't we have a look at the actual Spitfire? And then we will go from there into what it'll kind of look like. You know, I wish I had a 5870 to show it to you with, but I don't. You know what? Maybe we'll spend a little bit more time on this guy first. Okay, so they're using nickel-plated fins here, and they've got a couple of nickel-plated copper heat pipes that are running, one from like right under one of the contact strips here, and then the other one is a little bit to the side of the other contact strip. You can see it right here, but based on the fact that you're going to have excellent heat transfer from one part of an aluminum structure to another part, these heat pipes are both going to be able to carry a lot of heat up to these fins here. So okay, that pretty much covers it. Okay, let's have a look at the Spitfire itself. So we get another sticker, and then we get another assembly package. So you can see there are a lot more parts included with this one. So why don't we keep that on standby, and then what I'll do is I'll show you each of the included parts as we go through it. So installation manual. Okay, installation of the support bars. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so Thermalright has actually included support bars because they're afraid that this heatsink is going to make, well, not they're afraid, but rather they're concerned for their end users that installing this might make it so that their video card becomes quite heavy. So you can see how large it is once it's actually installed on a video card. So they have provided with the cooler a way to actually brace it against a couple of the standoffs that your motherboard screws into your chassis with. So by extension, what you're doing, this is actually pretty cool, is you are bracing this cooler against your chassis. So if you're actually needing to move your computer while you have the Spitfire installed, here I had you looking at that tiny picture, there you go. So during installation, if the supporting rod is blocked by any of the components, you have a metal rod installed that you take mounting holes. So cool, they've included a couple sort of extra ways for you to to make sure that you can install this. That is terrific. Okay, moving on. Here is the installation guide. So here's the exploded view where they show you, oh, here's the step-by-step on the back. So you insert the multiple thread. Why don't we pull this out so we can at least have a look at the included accessories first. Okay. That is a big pile of accessories. So this is the assembly package. I'm going to see if I can get this open tidily here without making too much of a mess. Yeah, I'm going to pull the old pen trick. Okay. There we go. So the biggest thing in here is the support bars. And those are, let's see what they're made of. Because my guess is going to be like steel or something like that, because they'd have to be quite strong. So here they are. Those are neat. So they've got a groove in them, so you can actually adjust them depending on exactly where you want to put the... Yeah, that's interesting. So you use this one side, and then that screws into the top of the Spitfire, and then this side just kind of adjusts to wherever you need to fasten it. So that's very cool. So those are the support bars. Next we have fan mounts. So you've got your standard wire clip fan mounts. Next we have 2 more pieces of the support bar structure. So these can be used to screw into the motherboard standoff holes. And then you can actually attach the Spitfire itself to these. Okay. Next we have all of the mounting hardware that we need in order to install the Spitfire onto the card. So let me see what we've got here. All of these thumb screws. You know, I've never actually tried to figure out VGA cooler mounting on camera, and it is proving to be quite difficult, so I might not get too much further into the mounting unless I do a dedicated video about mounting this particular cooler. So why don't we just have a look at all the other accessories that are included. So you got your mounting plates, and then you've also got some included thermal compound, and then you've also got little heat sinks for the RAM as well as for some of the voltage regulation modules on the back. So I guess if you don't have this particular accessory, you can also use this. So RAM heatsink A, RAM heatsink B, and then what are the other ones? These 6 pieces are 7 RAM heatsink C. Oh no, so they are all for RAM, so you do need the VRM cooling accessory. So let's have a look at the Spitfire. Wow, this thing's as big as a CPU cooler. That's the first thing I notice about it. It's got 6 heat pipes. So here, I'll get the cameraman to get in close to this thing and have a look. First, let's get all of the foamies taken off of it. Oh, it looks like these either stay on or no, these come out. Okay, so these foamies also come out. And wow, the structure of this thing is actually quite unique. So there's a lot of separation in between the dedicated fins to each one of these heat pipes, and then they've got one solid, appears to be steel, plate at the top holding it all in place so that none of them are going to move from their normal structure. So as you'd expect from a Thermalright product, the bottom is based, the base is lapped very smooth, and then you've got 6 heat pipes all terminated right here. So you can actually mount this, and you can see that this base is lapped as well. You can either mount it to your graphics card this way, and then you've got your GPU making contact here, or you can mount it to your graphics card this way, and you've got your GPU making contact to this side. So that's pretty cool, and that's one of the reasons that Thermalright wouldn't have been able to do a heat pipe direct touch design, because they wanted to make sure that you have that flexibility, because I mean, face it, this thing is huge. It's not going to fit just any old way in every case in the world. So why don't we have a look at where the heat pipes all make contact. So you can see these are welded, or rather soldered in, and then they each come out to a dedicated fin arrangement. And these fins are actually pretty unique, because normally you can kind of see right through the fins on a cooler, but they've got these, what they've done is they've taken each fin and they've actually bent them so that you get more surface area per fan blowing down on it, although it would make it more restrictive. Now, why they would have made a design decision like that, I'm not sure, but I think the results for this cooler speak for itself. I've seen it installed on Radeon 5870s, and it's dropped temperatures by over 30 degrees over the stock cooler without even running an extreme fan on it. So Thermalright actually had a recommended fan that they sent to me as well, and I'm hoping I'll be able to do an installation video, but it's the X-Silent 140, so it can accept up to a 140mm fan. Anyway, thank you for checking out my unboxing and first look at the Thermalright Spitfire, as well as their VRM cooling accessory for it.